In this video we are going to talk about Windows Disk Management. For that, click on Disk Management in the Status menu. In Windows, Disk Management is a built-in system utility that allows you to perform advanced storage tasks. It provides a graphical interface to manage the hard drives, solid-state drives, and flash drives connected to your computer. Disk Management is a built-in Windows tool that helps you manage disks and volumes. You can use it to initialize new drives, create and format volumes, change drive letters, and extend or shrink existing volumes. We can see how many hard disks are connected to our system and how many partitions they have. A basic disk is the most commonly used type of storage disk in Windows operating systems. In fact, when you install Windows for the first time, your hard drive is automatically set up as a basic disk. Well, a basic disk organizes your hard drive using something called partitions. Think of your hard disk like a big storage box. A basic disk divides that box into smaller sections, and each section becomes a separate drive, like C drive, D drive, or E drive. Each of these sections is called a partition. There are three main types of partitions in a basic disk. First, primary partition. This is the main partition where your operating system is installed, usually your C drive. Second, extended partition. This acts like a container that can hold multiple smaller drives. And third, logical drives. These are the drives created inside the extended partition, like D drive or E drive. Now let's talk about why basic disks are important. They are simple, easy to use, and supported by all Windows versions. That's why they are perfect for everyday users who just want to store files, install software, and manage their data easily. When you open Disk Management in Windows, you may notice a small partition labeled as Healthy EFI System Partition. This partition is very important for your computer. The EFI System Partition, also called ESP, is a small hidden partition on your hard drive that contains the files required to start your system. In modern computers, Windows uses something called UEFI firmware instead of the old BIOS system, and this EFI partition works with UEFI to boot your operating system. The EFI partition is usually very small, around 100 to 300 megabytes, and it uses the FAT32 file system. It is automatically created when you install Windows, so you don't need to create it manually. Inside this partition, important boot files are stored, including the Windows Boot Manager and other startup-related data. So if you see Healthy EFI System Partition, it means your system boot process is in good condition. Do not delete or format this partition. If you remove it, your system may fail to boot. A primary partition is the main partition of your hard disk where you can install the operating system and store your data. For example, your C drive is usually a primary partition where Windows is installed. The recovery partition is a special section of your hard drive that stores recovery tools and system files. These tools are used to repair your system or reset Windows if something goes wrong. In simple terms, it's like a built-in backup tool that helps you fix your computer without needing external software. This partition is usually around 500 megabytes to 1 gigabyte, although in some systems it can be larger. It does not have a drive letter, which means it is hidden and you won't see it in File Explorer. It is automatically created when you install Windows, so you don't need to create it manually. Healthy simply means that the partition is working correctly. There are no errors, and all the recovery tools are available when needed. The D drive, on the other hand, is usually used to store your personal files like photos, videos, documents, and other data. The C drive is the main section where important system files are stored, while the D drive is an extra section where you keep your personal items. We can open the C drive and the D drive. But we can't open these two drives we mentioned earlier, because they are hidden drives. The Disk 1 drive is a USB drive that I have connected to my system. It should show as removable. Now if we open the System Explorer, we can see 3 drives there. 2 hard disk partitions and a USB drive. Here we see Disk 2. Unlike Disk 1 and Disk 2, its color is black because this space has not been used yet, that's why it says unallocated here. If we decide to use that space, we need to convert it to a simple volume. It's called simple because it only uses space from a disk and doesn't involve any complicated setup. This is the easiest way to create a new partition and start using the free space on your hard drive. Here you can see the 4 volumes of the disk, except for the simple volume, which I will explain to you in another video. Let's see how to create a simple volume. If we press Next, we can see the total size of the unallocated space, in which we can enter the space we want. When taking this space, we need to calculate the hard disk space in megabyte. I have given 5000 megabytes here. This is where we need to assign the hard disk drive letter. We can assign any letter we want to the drive from the available drive letters. I have given the drive letter H here. After that, if you click Next, you will see some settings for the drive. Do not format this volume and format this volume using the following settings. Before choosing this, we need to know what the format and file system are. Formatting is the process of preparing a storage device like a hard drive, SSD, or USB so that it can store data. When you format a drive, all the existing data is erased, and a new file system is created. Now you might ask, what is a file system? A file system is a way the operating system organizes and manages files on a disk. Think of it like a library system that helps store and find books easily. In Windows 11, the 2 most common file systems are NTFS and FAT32. Let's talk about NTFS first. NTFS stands for New Technology File System, and it is the default file system used in modern Windows systems. It supports very large files, provides better security features like file permissions, and is more reliable. That's why NTFS is mainly used for internal hard drives and for installing Windows. Now let's look at FAT32. FAT32 is an older file system, but it is still widely used because of its compatibility. It works with almost all devices like Windows, Mac, Linux, TVs, and even gaming consoles. It supports 32-bit file tables and restricts individual files to a 4 GB maximum size. Quick Format is a fast way to format a storage device like a hard drive, SSD, or USB. When you use Quick Format, Windows does not completely erase your data. Instead, it removes the file system information that tells the computer where files are stored. So the files become invisible, but they may still exist in the background. That's why Quick Format is very fast. It usually takes just a few seconds. Now let's compare it with Full Format. In a full format, Windows completely erases the data and also checks the disk for errors. This process takes more time but is more secure. When you enable this option, Windows reduces the size of your files so they take up less space on your hard drive. You can still open and use these files normally. Windows automatically decompresses them when you access them. In File Explorer, compressed files are usually shown in blue color. This feature works mainly on NTFS file systems and does not require any additional software. Let's look at an example. If you have a file that is 100 megabytes, after compression it might become 60 megabytes, saving you storage space. But it is not recommended for videos, games, or already compressed files like zip and MP4, because it won't save much space and may reduce performance slightly. Allocation unit size is the smallest amount of space that a file can occupy on your disk. Think of your hard drive like a shelf divided into small boxes. Each box is called a cluster. When you save a file, it is stored inside these boxes. Now here's the important part. Even if your file is very small, it will still use one full box. For example, if your allocation unit size is 4 kilobytes and your file is only 1 kilobyte, it will still use 4 kilobytes of space. The remaining space is wasted, and this is called slack space. Now let's talk about NTFS. In NTFS, the default allocation unit size is usually 4 kilobytes, which is perfect for most users. It works efficiently for small and medium-sized files and is ideal for Windows systems. If you are working with lots of small files like documents, a smaller allocation unit size is better. If you are storing large files like videos, a larger allocation unit size can give better performance. But for most users, it's always best to leave it at the default setting when formatting a drive. I will show you how to create a partition in Windows default settings here. By pressing the Finish button, we will have a new partition created. We can see the message that a new drive has been created. Now when we open this PC, we will see the H drive we created. Now let's see how to change a drive letter. If you right-click on the partition, you will see Change Drive Letter and Paths. Click on it. Here, by clicking the Change button, we can select the letter of our choice from the available drive letters. If you change the drive letter, the location of the software installed on this drive will change when you open it. In that case, it will not be able to work. So you should be careful about such things. Now we will see a message saying that the drive letter has been changed. Now open My PC and you will see the drive letter has changed. We can also delete a partition right here. To do this, right-click on it and click Delete Volume. We should remember that we don't need the data on that partition. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more IT tutorials. If you are interested in learning more about this topic, please comment below.